Hello learners, in this second part of tourism system, let us first understand what are our objectives. The first objective is to understand the concept of demand and supply with reference to tourism system. Second, to study how this whole mechanism of demand and supply related issues are prominent in tourism operations. And the third part is to analyze the impact of tourism on the destination. So, I will take one by one. Let me first give you an introduction. Travel, which was once considered a luxury enjoyed only by few upper members of the classes, is today in the reach of billions. This has been possible with lowering of travel barriers, declining cost, growth of disposable income, rise of middle class, and of course the changing attitude of people towards travel within India and outside India. The total tourist arrival by regions shows that by 2020, the top 3 receiving regions will be Europe with 717 million tourists, East Asia and Pacific with 397 million, and the US 282 million, followed by Africa, Middle East and South Asia. The growth of budget airlines has also made travelling more accessible, while passengers are able to fly at different destinations. The growth of global tourism industry is also due to the rise of digital services. The recent developments in the industry are the revolutions in terms of online reviews, online bookings, which also reduced prices and increased satisfaction, leading to travel of people more often compared to the past years. Now, let me take you to the concept of tourism demand. I am sure some of you have studied demand in your school, and economists define demand as a schedule of the amount of any product or service that people are willing and able to buy at a specific time period. So, there is a definite relationship that exists between the market price and the quantity demanded. In terms of tourism, the amount of demand for travel to a particular destination is of great concern for all those who are involved in this business. The vital demand data includes how many visitors visited, the mode of transportation used, duration and type of their stay, and how much they have spent. So, these are the various measures of demand. Some of these data are very easy to obtain, but for others we need to go ahead with advanced statistical permutations and combinations. These estimates are very important for planning future tourism activities and managing the marketing strategies. The availability of the finances will depend largely on the reliable forecast of the future gross sales or revenue from a destination, and also it helps us to make tourism feasible in an area. Marketing and sales promotion programs are aimed at increasing demand, but they are also associated with increasing demand at certain time period of the time period in a year or in a particular market, and are also related with seasonality. The demand for a destination is a function of the person's propensity to travel and the reciprocal of the resistance of the link between the origin and destination area. Now, let me bring it to you in a very simple words. What is propensity? Propensity can be bought of as a person's predisposition to traveling. That means how much willing the person is to travel, what type of a travel experience he or she prefers, what type of destinations are considered. A person's travel propensity will be obviously determined by his psychological profile and travel motivation. In addition, a person's socioeconomic status will also have an impact on the propensity. It follows that a person's propensity to travel is based on its psychological, its physiographical, demographic variables and is directly related to demand. So, the first aspect in the demand is related to the propensity. The second one is the resistance, which relates to the relative attractiveness of various destinations. This factor is also based on certain variables such as economic aspects, distance, cultural attributes, cost of tourism services at the destination, quality of services offered, effectiveness of advertising and promotion, and seasonality. So, therefore, resistance is inversely related to demand. These factors which affect demand for tourism can also be further categorized into two aspects, the price factors and the non-price factors. Now, let us discuss these further. The price factors. How much is the transport cost for a tourist to go to a destination? As you all know that flight prices change often and the price tourists pay depend on the day they fly, when they book the ticket, the number of available seats in the airlines. Flight prices also depend on the type of tourism destinations. So, the cost of the ticket could be high or low. For example, for shorter distances, sometimes we have to pay more because of a specific event or a religious activity. So, first aspect in this is the price factor. The second one is related to the airlines policies, the cost of accommodation, the food, shopping, entertainment also has an impact on tourism demand. For example, food is expensive in Switzerland whereas it is cheap in India. Exchange rates also have an impact on tourism demand. So, all these factors are also playing an important role. Currency exchange rates, developments in the economy also affect the tourism demand. The non-price factors are related with destination image. For example, UK is positioned as one of the best countries in the world with great number of historically significant attractions and World Heritage sites. Also play an important role. The immigration system in a country may also impact the tourism demand. Flexible and accelerated visa processing systems often motivate tourists to travel abroad. It may work the other way around also. For example, many tourists from developing countries find it difficult to travel to developed countries due to rigid immigration systems. Next is weather conditions. As you all know that in India, from October to February, we get the maximum number of tourists because weather plays an important role in tourism demand. Tourists often go to destinations in search of sunshine, and as a result of it, winter is one of the important seasons for tourism in India. Heavy rains, floods, adverse natural conditions also impact tourism demand in any destination. Now, once we have understood that the demand for tourism is associated with both pricing as well as non-pricing factors, let us now go to the next aspect, how to measure the demand. The measuring of the demand is affected and limited by the supply side of the tourism activity. If we don't take into consideration the supply aspect, then the planners may come up with a false assumption about a particular area. The supply should be increased to meet the demand, and the supply is also associated with the factors needed to increase the demand. To measure the actual demand, we take into consideration the visitor arrival, visitor days or visitor nights, and the amount spent at the destination. Now, let us discuss what visitor arrival stands for. Simply counting the number of people who arrive at the destination is a measure of demand, but it's not an adequate one. When we take the data related to visitor arrival by a ship or an aircraft, for example, we collect the data from an island or an airport, then the accurate data is available. Those who are on the en route and are visiting some other places, they should not be included in this data. So, visitor arrivals are easiest type of data to obtain in case of foreign tourism, and if public transportation methods are used, they can also be taken into consideration. Variations in this data may occur due to arrivals by months and also rise and fall of demand during the year. The second aspect is the visitor day or the visitor night. That is very important for the tourism planners related to the data on the arrival of tourists. We need to consider the average length of stay. There are different ways in which we can collect data regarding the tourist visit to specific sites. From the hotels or the accommodation service providers also we get data about the number of nights spent at the destination, and with this data obtained we can have a rough estimate about the type of tourism expenditure made by per visitor, per night, per day at a destination. This data is very much beneficial for the tourism planners to plan for various facilities such as utility systems, parking, recreational areas and other aspects related to tourism support services. The third aspect is the amount spent. The amount spent is a significant measure of the demand. It may not be determined accurately, but it is one of the most difficult measures to obtain. Statistics on the amount spent helps to understand the tourist expenditure at the destination. It also tells us about the various activities they are involved into it, and we can also estimate it according to the number of days they have spent or nights they have spent according to their choice at a destination. Now, let us discuss the concept of tourism supply. The tourism supply chain originated from economics. It's used to explain how different businesses enter into contractual relationship to supply services, products and attractions, and how these products are assembled at different points in the supply chain. Tourism system is well suited in the supply chain because the products, services or the experience that is consumed is assembled and comprises of the contribution of wide range of suppliers. The supply of tourism product basically involves how the various components of tourism products are placed at the disposal of tourists. Tourism suppliers can be classified under following subheadings. The first one is the hospitality, transport, the attractions and the product is the third one. As far as hospitality is concerned, this is a place where a tourist will look for an appropriate form of accommodation, different types of food services, provisions for entertainment and leisure activities. The supplier of hospitality product such as accommodation service providers, entertainment service facilitators must be well located in relation to the other components of the tourism product. The supplier of accommodation may vary from privately owned organizations to large hotel chain groups. On the other hand, we have in the food service segment, we can have drinking places, we can have coffee shops, local food outlets which are strongly linked with the accommodation sector. Ultimately, accommodation is the core of the tourism supply chain and it occupies the central position. The tourism supply can also be explained through the distribution system in the tourism analysis. The distribution system makes the supply of tourism available and accessible to the demand side. As tourism is an intangible product, information is the most important and a crucial element on which the potential tourists can base their decision to plan for any activity. In terms of the tourism distribution system, basically we focus into the supplier of tourism services, the distributors of information, the travel intermediaries, and we can divide them into 4 basic elements. The first element is the natural or the environmental resources that constitute the fundamental measure of supply. With the rise in environmental awareness, natural conservation activities, ecotourism and natural resources are being used sustainably to ensure that we get the benefit out of it in future also. Tourism supply in this regard comprises of elements like the physiological area, the landforms, flora, fauna, water bodies, quality of air and natural phenomena. So, availability of these resources is of paramount importance for the success and continuity of tourism as a major revenue earning industry. The man-made resources such as infrastructure, which includes the underground and the surface development construction such as water supply system, sewage disposal system, power lines, road, communication networks, commercial and recreational facilities. They are particularly needed by tourism as a superstructure and is included primarily to support the various activities of the visitor. Examples of this could be airports, parking lots, parks, hotels and other places of entertainment. And another component, an important component of tourism supply is transportation, which is a crucial component, as we all know that without that a tourist cannot reach its destinations. We have aeroplanes, buses, various modes of transportation, and they help us to provide basic facilities for the tourists to visit the destination. The next part is the cultural resources, which are integral to the tourism offering. If the people and the cultural wealth of the area is such that they have a positive approach towards tourism, the guest-host relationship is good, then only tourism can take place at a particular destination. Tourists are also concerned with security and other comforts. The attitude of the residents to the visitor should be positive and desirable. The friendliness, courtesy, sincere interest and willingness to serve the tourist is also a crucial factor in the tourism supply at the destination. Now, after understanding the aspects of tourism supply, let us understand the various supply related activities. Today, marketers not only influence the tourist demand, but they also influence the growth and the development of supply at the destination. The marketers may also come up with suggestions or various programs to help the supplier and the stakeholders to increase the provisions for tourism accommodation, to help the travel agencies plan itineraries for different types of tourists, and also provide inputs to transport providers about various innovative itineraries. The activities of restaurants and bars, car rental services, entertainment and attractions also increase tourism at the destination. The dependency of certain activities or enterprises are also location specific. Therefore, the supply of tourism comprises of diverse economic activities which are presented in a very heterogeneous manner, encompassing different activities. Some of these activities are directly dependent on tourism and some of them are partly or partially dependent and used by local residents also. Now, after understanding the concept of demand and supply, now let us understand that what Indian tourism government policies are to increase the demand for tourism at the destination. For example, the first initiative that I would like to discuss with you is the growing option for low budget travelers. We are setting up hostels for travelers. We are having numerous budget hotels, bed and breakfast accommodation to cater to different types of travelers who are financially constrained. The taxes and other expenses for moving around the country are comparatively low compared to other foreign destinations. So, it becomes a good choice for the budget travelers from around the globe to plan their visit to India. Indian government has taken new initiatives. Visa on arrival is a new concept. So, this again increases the demand for tourism and tourist inflow in our country. There is a large number of new form of accommodation that is coming up. A new concept of boutique hotels is coming up in a big way. They are providing comfort to the visitor at a very nominal price and are also promoting tourism among special interest tourists. New destinations for both domestic and international tourists are being explored and developed. Various circuits have been identified by the government, and heavy promotional and infrastructural investment is being carried out to develop tourism and promote the various activities on that particular area. With improved connectivity and penetration of internet, new destinations are coming to light and are catching the eyes of the travelers. We are promoting tribal tourism, ethnic tourism, community-based tourism activities in interior parts of the country, which is leading to growth in the standard of living of the locals also, and helping the tourists to understand new culture. Various travel shows are being organized. They are working towards the promotion of tourism in India by offering a platform for various stakeholders in the country. The government has taken special initiatives to promote India as a destination in different countries through various trade shows and advertisements. So, all this is helping India to be projected as a destination which is safe for the traveler and which is offering a variety of products. In terms of ecotourism also, this industry is playing a very important role in terms of sustainability of the resources associated. Various laws, regulations and guidelines have been performed for the wildlife tourism in India, for the protection of natural resources of the country, and also to develop tourism in such areas where there is immense potentiality and rich biodiversity. There are new legislations to promote and conserve the environment. Environment impact assessments are being carried out for the development of new tourism products, and the negative impacts of the tourism activities on the surrounding communities are being audited, and the focus is on the development of local business to provide authentic experience to the tourist. So, as a student of tourism system, we must understand that on the one hand we had discussed about tourism demand. Now we had also discussed about the tourism supply and the various initiatives Government of India is undertaking to improve the demand for tourism and to match with supply. So ultimately the fact that we have to work towards is that we need to match the supply with the demand. We need to come up with those destinations which are able to supply assets, services and products that can be bought by visitors and can be enjoyed during their journey. After this matching demand and supply, let us go to the last stage or the last framework of the tourism system, which is the impact of tourism. Let us discuss the impact of tourism on the destination. In terms of economic impact, tourism provides jobs for the local residents, it benefits the destination, profits are earned. With the growth of economy and promoting India as a culturally rich and diverse nation, today Indian tourism industry can bring billions of dollars into the economy. This has led to the arrival of foreign tourists, increase in the number of domestic tourists, better job opportunities and circulation of money in the economy. The positive impacts are generating income and employment. Tourism in India has emerged as an instrument of economic and employment generation, poverty alleviation and sustainable human development. It contributes to 6.23% of the national GDP and 8.78% of the total employment in India. Approximately 20 million people in India are now working in the tourism industry. This sector is also an important source of foreign exchange earning in India and has a favorable impact on the balance of payment. The second positive impact is the preservation of national heritage and environment. Tourism helps to preserve several places which are of historical importance. For example, we have various heritage sites like Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar, Ajanta and Ellora, which were preserved by the various initiatives of the tourism government and the support from the UNESCO. So, tourism helps us to conserve our culture in a big way. This also helps in conserving our natural heritage and the endangered species. Another important impact of tourism is the development of infrastructure. Tourism tends to increase the development of infrastructure, which is benefited for the host community. We have various types of transportation, health facilities, sports centers, hotels, and very good national highways which help in the movement of tourists. So, we have seen the positive impact of tourism, and I am sure you all know that tourism promotes peace and stability in a developing country like India, where we are protecting the environment and we are promoting cross-cultural awareness. So, all these are the positive impacts of tourism at the destination. Now, let me take you to some of the negative aspects of the destination, which at certain places we are suffering a lot because of the increase in mass tourism activities. The negative aspects related to tourism could be related to crime or safety of the tourist, problems in non-adherence to the regulatory frameworks, undesirable social and cultural change in the social fabric of the community. Where more tourists come to a place, there is an increased perceived risk of that place losing its identity. There could be a lot of commercial activities that may take place in a region which may adversely impact its culture. Many times at certain places in the country, tourism increases tension and hostility between the local community and the tourist when there is no respect and understanding for each other's culture and way of life. Many times the travelers look for commercial facilities and services which locals are not well managed, and they are not able to come up to the standards because of the difference in the language, lack of training, as well as the social attitude towards tourism. So, these are some of the aspects that we may consider as part of the negative impact of the tourism at the destination. So, in this entire two sessions of tourism systems, we have now understood that tourism is a dynamic activity. We started with the concept of the external environment. We discussed about the political, social, economic and the technological environment that affects the tourism. Then the push and the pull factors that are associated with the destination, the role of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and the choice of the destination by the tourist. After discussing these factors, we have now in this presentation studied about the role of demand and supply, how the dynamics of demand and supply works, what are the factors from the point of view of the tourists that are important that generate demand, and at the destination what kind of facilities, attractions, infrastructure should be developed to promote the destination. After discussing the demand and the supply, we conclude that the tourism system has an impact on the local environment. This impact is both positive and negative in India. So, as a tourism student, we should analyze specific destinations during this course of our study, understand the various factors that motivate the tourist, design appropriate promotional strategies based on the data that we have generated from the demand for tourism, improve our destination specific services, and come up with a plan of developing the overall framework of tourism that is sustainable and environmentally friendly. All wings of central and state government, non-public sector undertakings, voluntary organizations should become active partners with an endeavor to realize the growth of tourism and the commercial enterprise associated with it if India wished to become a world player in this whole tourism business activity. The system need to be strong enough to sustain the changes in the external environment and to generate enough demand so that tourism can be a major revenue contributor to the overall GDP of this country. Thank you.